Narcissism is by its very nature demonic. I want you to understand that people who are narcissistic are on assignment. I believe that. And I'm going to prove this to you. I believe that God is an all-powerful, all-knowing, and loving Father. And our Bible tells us that it is not his will that any should perish. So what that means then is we all have free will, right? And although it is not God's will that any should perish, sometimes based on our will, we make our own decisions, our own choices, and ultimately our own demise. So with that understanding, I want you to understand that narcs seek out. I have never once in 15 years, I have never once seen a narc or a person be in an abusive relationship with a narc who was not kind, caring, compassionate, forgiving, empathetic. They go for these type of people. These are the people that they go for. People who, by their very nature, have an air or sense of godliness. Narcs will never connect with another narc. Do you know why? Because there is nothing there for them to get to feed off of. Nothing there for them to get narcissistic feed. So they seek out, they hunt, they lock on to people who have an abundance of spiritual wealth, yet are unaware of how valuable they are. So, in just like our Bible tells us, all things work for the good, right? All things work for the good to glorify God. But let me explain that to you. One thing that I say to my clients all the time, I usually give it to them at the beginning because it's such a far thing for them to be able to see, is I tell them ultimately, by the time this is all said and done, you'll come to thank God for your narc. Let me tell you why I say that. Because although the narc comes to kill, steal, and destroy, what they actually do is cause you to look at yourself and start to question yourself. Everybody I've counseled for the past 15 years comes to this conclusion. What is wrong with me? Why am I dealing with this? And this is usually what drives people to counseling, because they're trying to figure out what's going on. And when they come to me, I let them know that your narc is in your life to wake you up to the purpose and honor, vision, direction that God has placed in you. See, the narc comes so that we might recognize and understand the areas in ourselves that we are forfeiting or that we are putting them in control of. The narc comes to wake us up. And once we are awakened, we start to see them differently. And you can't see them differently until you become aware and awake as to who you are. So they are absolutely demonic. They are on assignment. They have every opportunity, as anybody else, to turn to God and repent, right? To turn to God and choose and ask for forgiveness, to turn to God, to walk in empathy and compassion and love. These are all traits that a narc steers clear from, because they have their own trauma that they've lived through, their own trauma that they've experienced, no different than anyone else. And what they've done is they've decided that this pain that I feel, I do not want to feel this pain anymore. So what I will do, and what my adjustment will be, is I will keep myself in a position of authority, keep myself in a position of hierarchy, or keep myself in a position where I do not have to feel anything, and I do not have to compromise who I am or my position for the sake of other people's happiness and joy. See, we all of us have experienced some trauma, some hurt, some pain from our past. But some of us experience that hurt and pain from our past, and we say, wow, that hurt me, and I know what it feels like. So I don't want to cause this to other individuals. That is the basis of empathy. Whereas a narc says, wow, I didn't like how that felt. So I will build up defenses and become advantageous to anyone who gets close enough to me or allows me in, so that I can not have to experience that feeling again. And any joy, happiness that I get, it will come by way of hurt, pain, aggravation, and frustration.